Chapter 16. Babysitting. Now what? First, she canceled her flight. There was no way she was going to leave her aunts alone now. What she was going to do, she wasn't sure, but she knew she had to stay. Maybe she could still connect with Mrs. Fredrickson, and if things settled down in the next few days, she might be able to get back to New York in time for the next audition. She checked her phone. Ugh, an urgent message from Granddad. Francesca, call ASAP. Need to talk. She felt a twinge of guilt and another of anxiety, but tossed the phone into her backpack. She'd deal with him later. The rest of the afternoon, she ran a few errands for her aunts, then went into the coffee shop, flipped open her laptop, and mulled. Obviously, she was going to have to find proof of Buck's guilt herself, and fast, before any other people were accidentally killed. But how? There must be a way of digging up some dirt on Buck. Then again, what if it wasn't Buck? The sheriff certainly didn't think so. And when she thought about it, Buck did not strike her as being smart enough or patient enough to orchestrate a string of murders. Still, he was the constant in all of these unusual deaths, or most of them anyway. Perhaps he was smarter than he pretended to be. That would be something a very clever person could do. She had an actor friend who was one of the smartest people she knew, but he had a steady job on a sitcom playing an ignoramus. The smart actors play dumb characters better than dumb actors do, a director had told her once, when she'd squeaked about getting the dumb blonde part, for which she had to wear a wig, of course. That shut her up. So she ought to know better than to make such assumptions. Since she couldn't come up with any great ideas about how to investigate Buck or how to respond to her grandfather's phone message, she decided to go back to the cabin. On Francie's way up to the cabin from the lake, Ginger intercepted her to ask if she'd mind babysitting TJ for the evening. She was going out for dinner, she said. A date? Francie asked. Don't act so surprised. I'm not that bad looking, Ginger said. I didn't mean that, Francie explained. I mean, who is there to date around here? The gorgeous Greek god of the previous night flickered through her mind, but she didn't even know who he was, so she couldn't ask. Sandy? She said. God, no, Ginger said. Stop asking. I'm not going to tell you. Not Buck Jr., Francie guessed. Please say no. Ginger laughed. No. Good, Francie said. Who then? I told you. I'm not going to tell you, Ginger protested. Why? Are you serious? Ginger laughed and flipped her hair off her face and trip-tropped down the path. I'll send TJ over shortly, okay? She called over her shoulder. Yeah, okay, Francie answered. I'll try to get the aunts to cook something normal. What does he like to eat, by the way? Anything. The weirder the better, Ginger shouted back, laughing. That's lucky, Francie called back. Ginger seemed really happy. That was nice. She deserved something nice, Francie supposed, although she wondered if Ginger's mother would approve of her dating while she was supposed to be babysitting her little brother. At dinner, Francie played with her mashed potatoes, flapping them with the back of her spoon. Why wouldn't Ginger tell her who she was going out with? Francie swirled her potatoes slower. Was she really on a date? Why had she been out when Francie had come by after the party? Had it been Ginger who had been lurking when Francie had gone out to silence the wind chime? Though the evening was warm, a shiver ran up her arms. She turned and looked at TJ, who was busy smashing his peas deep into his potatoes. He was distracted, too. He acted uncomfortable, afraid even. Is there something wrong with the potatoes? Astrid said sharply. For the love of Pete, a couple of disagreeable porcupines would be better company than you two. Sorry, Francie said. Just thinking. She shoved her potatoes into the shape of a volcano. Astrid went into the kitchen, and Francie turned to TJ. So, TJ, she said, where did Ginger go tonight? TJ lifted one shoulder in a shrug. Dunno, he said. Who's her date? TJ lifted the other shoulder. Dunno, she didn't tell me. Does she go out often? Francie continued. Was she out last night? Frenchie, Jeanette said, don't you think you're being a little nosy? Of course she's nosy. Astrid returned from the kitchen carrying some kind of cake. She's a detective. That's what she gets paid to do. I'm getting paid? Francie asked. It's just a figure of speech, Astrid answered. TJ had taken the opportunity to slip a meatball under the table to Rusty. Jeanette and Astrid pretended not to notice. Francie spent the next little while trying to engage TJ in conversation. She learned not much, as he seemed rather shy. He liked it by the lake. He liked catching frogs. He used to go fishing with his dad, but hadn't gone yet this summer. He professed to like to swim, which Francie contested because it seemed to her he was always filthy. How do you get so dirty? He gave a cursory glance at his dusty arms and legs and shrugged. I'm sorry about your friend Warren, Francie said. That must be hard for you. I understand you were chums. TJ looked down. Tears trembled in his eyes. Francie, still distracted, started scooping cake out of the pan with a spoon. Why am I dishing this out with a spoon? She asked. I can't find a spatula, Astrid answered. Just pretend it's pudding.